Good, how are you today?
Not bad, not bad. Is it Alex or Alexander?
Alex.
Alright, so I'm one of the hematologists here at Feedback.
Yeah.
I've read your story, so can you let me know what you've experienced in your own words?
I guess I went to hospital last month, 22nd of June, because I had some severe back pain initially. I don't know if this is a story you want me to tell, but
Yes, please.
on the 19th I actually came back to pick up the keys for a new apartment. I was getting some sporadic back pain, and I thought it was because of my old van, because it's a bit of a shaker, so I thought it was a muscle thing. But then Friday night, it was a Friday night it became more constant, and then started going right across the lower back to the other side. And basically for the next 3 days, all I could do was lay down. I couldn't stand, I couldn't sit, because I felt I was putting pressure on this side at the back. And even laying down, I couldn't remain in the same position for about 10 or 15 minutes. So Monday I went to hospital on the 22nd, thinking it might have been my gallbladder or kidney stones. They did a CT scan, found that my lymph nodes in my stomach were enlarged. And the emergency doctor was quite serious, and he's told me that it could be lymphoma, but they won't know until they do a biopsy. So I remained in hospital for 4 days. On the third day, I had a biopsy done through my back to get the abdominal one. Oh, by the way, they did some CT scans of my chest, found some more enlarged nodes. They did my brain, apparently that's okay. And then they sent me home. Then a week later, I got a phone call saying the biopsy was normal, but they still felt something was going on. And then about a week after that, I noticed that the lymph nodes in my neck, left side, was swelling. So I thought, well, this is obviously linked to what I've got in my stomach and chest, so maybe they can do another biopsy. So I went back and had a biopsy done last Thursday, I think. And they've told me that it is lymphoma, but they haven't got the full results as yet.
Do you have any problems with your health?
Not usually. I mean, even though I haven't had a spleen since I was 9, I haven't really got an excessive amount of flus or colds over the years. The only thing...
What happened to your spleen? Car accident or something? Or?
Yeah, I had a car accident when I was 9, and a ruptured bladder as well, so they took the spleen out.
So, you've had a biopsy of the lymph node in your neck there, and it does look like lymphoma.
Yeah.
It looks like it's polytrichal lymphoma. It looks halfway between two sorts of lymphoma. It looks a bit like Hodgkin lymphoma,
Yeah.
and a bit like non-Hodgkin lymphoma, which is something we're seeing, but nothing that we do a bit more work to try and find out exactly what it is. Okay.
Okay.
Get through a PET scan. Okay.
Yeah.
So a PET scan basically where it's like a CT scan, but it makes it all lymphoma line up, and so it's very sensitive to finding out where the lymphoma is and where it isn't.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is a bone marrow biopsy, just to work out whether there's any lymphoma inside your bone marrow.
Okay.
And the treatment will involve chemotherapy.
Yeah.
And that course of chemotherapy will most likely go for about 4 to 6 months. Okay.
Okay.
But we'll talk more about the chemotherapy once I know exactly what the sort of common lymphoma is. Okay.
Yeah.
Importantly, the aim is to cure this lymphoma. Even though it's in quite a few places, the aim is still to cure it.
This is a video that I've made for friends and family to let them know how I've been travelling since I was diagnosed with Stage IV Lymphoma a few months ago. I've now had 4 chemotherapy treatments and was told that I'd have 6 in total, but I guess that depends on the 3rd PET scan, which will be done 6 weeks after the last chemo treatment. I was told that there's a chance that the lymphoma will come back, even if they are able to clear what I have now. In regards to the therapy itself, I've been lucky enough not to have any adverse reaction when receiving the treatment, which more or less takes around 7 or 8 hours in my case. I've also had very little major side effects afterwards. I mean, I haven't developed a fever or had any serious nerve or heart damage to be hospitalised for. After the first treatment, I had insomnia from the steroids, which I take for the first 5 days after the treatment. Then for a few weeks, I was getting a lot of body aches and muscle pain. I felt a little unwell in general, and my stomach sometimes feels unsettled or strange, but I haven't had any serious episodes of nausea or vomiting, or even diarrhea, which are other common symptoms. I have vague numbness in my fingers and have days where I'm fatigued and feel like I'm 90 years old. After 2 weeks, I started losing my hair and continue to do so. Even now, since my second chemo, I've noticed that I'm not growing any facial hair, when normally I would have to shave every 3 days, and now I only get a few long strands after 3 weeks. I started gaining the weight that I'd lost due to the cancer, which is a bummer in a way. I've gained back the 10 kilos that I'd lost. I took it as a positive to be able to lose weight with very little effort thanks to the cancer. But now, either because the cancer is going or my sweet tooth and lack of exercise is putting it back on, almost to where I was originally, which in my case isn't good because I'm overweight as it is. Soon after my first chemo treatment, I saw my cardiologist and found out that I now need a pacemaker put in because the loop recorder that I've got implanted in my chest for almost 2 years now picked up that in March earlier this year, when the COVID situation here in Australia was starting to get serious. My heart had stopped for several times a day for 4 days, each time stopping for 3 to 5 seconds, causing me to black out without warning, which is obviously an issue if I was to be driving and I had an episode. So that's something that will be done soon in the middle of October, in between my chemo, when my white cell count is high enough, because there's a good chance of infection when my immune system is so low due to the chemotherapy drugs. Something I'm actually more anxious about than having lymphoma. The idea of possibly being awake while they feed a wire down through my artery and inside my heart is a little unsettling. So how is my therapy going? Am I winning? To be honest, I don't really know. I'm still aware that I may only have several years of life left, regardless of the outcome. The chemo put a lot of strain on the heart and major organs, so the future is uncertain, because with my heart condition, I may end up having a heart attack in the future, or perhaps I'll have kidney failure, which is some of the long-term side effects. There's even a chance it could cause another form of cancer. But if I didn't do the treatment, I'll probably be dying sooner and more painfully, so no option, really, I guess. As it is, my second heart scan a week or so ago has shown that it's not pumping as much blood as it had previously prior to starting chemo. So obviously my heart is already being affected by the therapy. My legs are slightly swollen, which is another sign of heart issues. My first PET scan showed that the lymphoma was virtually everywhere in my body, certainly throughout my chest, abdominal areas and neck, even in a few spots in my legs. It took me a few weeks to grab a copy of the scan from the doctor, so prior to that I'd never had a good close look at it. I was told that when looking at the scan, everything that is black is lymphoma, apart from the brain, heart and bladder that always appear black. So when I saw the extent of the spread, my first reaction was to swear, and for a moment I felt hopeless. I knew that having cancer wasn't a good thing, but seeing the scan made it more real, made my mortality real. But the feeling of hopelessness only lasted a few moments, because I decided that it is what it is, and we'll just have to do the best with whatever time I have left, whatever the outcome. Not much I can do about it, and just have faith in God. I've since had a second PET scan, which looks more promising, in fact a stark difference. The majority of it seems to have cleared from my body, but there's still a small amount of lymphoma on my liver, where sometimes I still feel a little spot of pain every now and then, and there's also a small spot left in my lungs. But the constant dry coughing that I've had for most of the year has gone. Now I just have a constant runny nose. So compared to how it was, it's a big improvement. So the chemotherapy is obviously working to some extent, even though I still have some lymphoma remaining. Hopefully that will go after I've had the 6 treatment cycles. The doctor told me that while it is a step in the right direction, he cannot say that I'll be cured from the disease. He also mentioned that there's a chance that it can come back after treatment is finished, which is when I'll be having another PET scan to see if that turns out to be the case. Otherwise, I'm basically staying indoors at home as much as possible, which with the COVID-19 restrictions here in Melbourne, I don't really have any other option. I should only be going out for essential shopping, etc. within a 5-kilometre radius. Also, with my low immune system, I need to stay away from crowds because apparently catching a common cold can turn into a serious lung infection like pneumonia. So with my time at home, I've been spending a lot of time cataloguing my large archive of time lapses that I've taken over the last 7 years, with the intent of selecting the better ones for some personal video projects that I'd like to complete with them. Which has taken me a few months to get to the stage where I can start editing a video for my YouTube channel. With over 100 external hard drives, it's been a time-consuming task. But it helps keep my mind off things and helps fill in the days in a productive way. At least I'm chipping away at something and getting closer to finishing it each day. It's also something that gives me some personal satisfaction and I enjoy doing it. I've always wanted to make a career out of it in some form, but I guess I always lacked the fire or ambition. Not because I didn't want to, but having a mental illness also didn't help. Some of you know that I have PTSD, which is a mix of depression, anxiety, hypervigilance, amongst other things. So motivation and mental energy issues have always been a problem for me. And I found with my time lapses, it's been helpful to do that, to do something that I enjoy. Otherwise, I found it difficult to enjoy most things in life or to be happy. But as I still don't know how many years I have left, regardless, I need to plan at least for the next several years, if not come up with a 5-year plan. Something that I've always struggled with my depression. I've spent the majority of my life living week to week in the last several years, day to day, when I was living out of my van on and off, when I couldn't afford to rent. But it's been a depression that's always had me in limbo, so to speak. It's hard to be motivated or plan long term when your mind is full of negative thoughts of just waiting to die, undermining my mind every day. I've often had good days, but the majority of the underlying feeling has always been low self-confidence and really not enjoying or allowing myself to enjoy life fully. Not a conscious choice by any means, it's just how it is with depression. After all, it is a mental illness. So with that in mind, and the knowledge that my life may well be limited, I've also started regular psychology sessions as part of my treatment. Not necessarily to deal with my cancer, as for me it's just another thing in life that's been thrown at me. Like the car accident I had when I was 9 that killed my father and sister, then my mum passing away at 18. I intend to use these sessions to help me learn to maintain my focus, to manage my anxiety and depression to a level that it doesn't inhibit me or keep me in limbo anymore. Time is precious, and knowing that it's now limited, I need to make the most of it. Share more of my photography, because most of it I haven't touched or haven't seen for years. I want to find a way to pass on my knowledge while I can, with the view of maybe making a difference to others in the world, my way of making a small difference. It's always been a good feeling to help or inspire others, something that I haven't done enough of, and try and enjoy life a little more. So I just wanted to say, for those people that have subscribed to my YouTube channel, one, I want to thank you for subscribing and for your interest. Hopefully in the near future we'll be able to upload more frequently so I can share a lot more of my time-lapse captures that I've done over the years. But at the moment I'm working on a few projects that will take quite a bit of time. So if you want to check out my Instagram or my Facebook page, you can see some of the more frequent uploads that I do there, because sometimes while I'm editing a sequence I'll see something that I just want to share straight away, so I'll upload a short clip to my Facebook page or Instagram. But anyway, I just want to thank everyone for the support over the years, and I appreciate it. Take care of yourselves.